Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Tuesday, June 6th. Right now, we're talking about a little bit of clarity that we've received over the last week or so on the roles of Travon Walker and Devin Lloyd, the Jaguars' two 2022 first-round picks. Let's go ahead and get into it because there's been a lot of speculation on the roles of Devin Lloyd and Travon Walker entering the 2023 season. There's been some buzz and even talk inside the building that Travon Walker will be playing more with his hand in the dirt and Devin Lloyd potentially taking edge reps for the Jaguars in 2023. That was the word coming out of Jacksonville and kind of around the league. I think part of the intrigue in this stems from a fan's perspective that they perceived that Travon Walker and Devin Lloyd didn't have the best rookie years as first-round draft picks. And so you say, could a position switch, could kind of a tweak in how they're used, could that help them improve going into year two? But I think after having heard from Mike Caldwell, Jaguars defensive coordinator, and Doug Peterson, head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, of course, on these subjects this week, we can kind of safely forecast with a little bit more clarity what these guys will be asked to do in the Jaguars defense in 2023. Starting with Travon Walker, first round pick last year, right? He is getting more work with his hands in the dirt. He's working a little bit more with Brinson Buckner, but he is still a base outside linebacker for the Jaguars. For me, this makes a ton of sense because Walker is a really, really good base outside linebacker already, because he can set the edge at a high level. He can use his athleticism and his length to string out runs. He can knife in the backfield. He can overpower tight ends and certainly overpower some tackles as well. He can make a lot of plays in the run. He can set the edge. He can drop in coverage. He can do those things you're looking for from a 3-4 outside linebacker, no doubt about it. And you've seen him make plays doing so in both regards, both in coverage and against the run. I think where you'll see Walker more with a hand in the dirt is more clear pass rushing situations. And that doesn't even necessarily mean kicking inside, because a lot of situations for the Jaguars, when they're third and long, third and medium, whatever it may be, you see them switch up their fronts. They're not just in a 3-man front. They're not just in a 4-man front or 5-man front. They switch things up a lot. So he could have a hand in the dirt and still be rushing from the same spot he would be as an outside linebacker. But I think the clear pass rushing situations, that's where you see him putting a hand or both hands in the dirt. And I think you started to see that more towards the end of 2022. I think you saw him with a little bit more comfortability in that role. Again, as a pass rusher, he's very comfortable as an outside linebacker on base downs, doing the dirty work, doing the run stuffing and dropping in coverage and things like that. But I think where you see him really try to pin his ears back more in 2023 is with a hand in the dirt as a pass rusher. And that's really nothing new, right? I think you saw that in 2022. That doesn't really change from anything they've said this offseason. The one that's a little bit more intriguing here, because it was kind of more of a stark contrast in terms of what the role would be in 2023 compared to what it was in 2022. Again, people talking about Devin Lloyd, who was an inside linebacker, off-ball linebacker for the Jaguars in 2022. And that's what he did for the most part at Utah as well. People were talking about him actually lining up as a 3-4 outside linebacker, a guy playing on the edge. Trent Baalke mentioned it. He said he was going to rush the passer more potentially in 2023. But defensive coordinator Mike Caldwell, he kind of cleared all that up yesterday. He said Lloyd is an off-ball inside linebacker for the Jacksonville Jaguars, bottom line. So he's not going to be playing outside linebacker or edge for this football team, for this defense. He will blitz, and I think that's kind of where the language, the vernacular kind of got mixed up for Trent Baalke. I think maybe he will blitz more in 2023, but he will not be playing he will not be playing outside linebacker. He will not be setting the edge for the Jaguars. So I think that's kind of where the confusion came from, where the intrigue and controversy, if you will. So Mike Caldwell, he wants to get Devin down there closer to the line of scrimmage as a blitzer, not as a true edge player, which they did plenty of that in 2022. He had 74 reps in 2022 as a blitzer. So you'll see him showing blitz in all the gaps, A, B, C, D gap, but they're going to either want to get him free as a free runner, with numbers, dictate the numbers game and get Devin Lloyd free, or get him lined up against a tight end or a running back trying to block him and pass pro. And so I think that's where you're going to see the Jaguars try to take advantage of Devin Lloyd's skill set and his ability to create penetration, because he does have some of that ability. They don't want him one-on-one with tackles, right? That's just not a great matchup with his size. So yes, I think you could see him blitz more in 2023, but he is still an off-ball inside linebacker in this Jacksonville Jaguars defense. I don't think that's going to change. Hopefully, this conversation, this new information from Mike Caldwell, from Doug Peterson talking about Travon Walker a little bit, hopefully this can kind of put some of that chatter, some of that confusion to bed about Travon being a full-time hand-in-the-dirt player, because he's not going to be, or Devin Lloyd transitioning to playing outside linebacker or edge, because he's not going to be doing that. So hopefully that will help clear things up for y'all. I definitely enjoyed hearing from Mike Caldwell yesterday, hearing him talk about Devin Lloyd as a pass rusher, because it's really a blitzer, not a true edge player. But yeah, that'll do it for this here today. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. You can also follow Generation Jaguar at Generation Jag. Hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Drop a comment in the comments section. Notification bell so you don't miss a show. If you're on your podcast platform of choice, please subscribe and review. Y'all have a good one.